Hello and welcome. This is Kishkisan, and today I'll be talking about an orange-purple token deck. Now, this is a deck that traces its origin back to a very old deck by Oniric. It also was basically revolving around the same idea. It also is inspired by Rune's mono orange that he's been treading the ladder with. It's a mix between those two decks, but it's still very different from both of these decks. So the deck is basically playing orange purple, and the star of the show are the Ramens. Now the Ramens are really good for this deck because we play Reconstruct, and this allows us to use the Ramen to keep creating tokens. Now these 1/1 tokens are really not that impressive, but when we consider all the synergies we have with the tokens, we have the Spear of Destiny to increase the damage of the tokens, but the the real payoff for the Spear of Destiny is the Xerxian Sympathizer. Now, when we make all our tokens Zealots, our Xerxian Sympathizer is going to be very happy because of it gains frenzy with each uh, when another Zealot is played. Uh, the nice thing as well with playing purple in this deck is the Juiced and of course the Racer. Now the Juiced allows us to flood the board with tokens and buff them all. So this is an aggressive deck that tries to go with the token strategy, plays small stuff and tries to buff them. And we play Colosseum of Strife and Reconstruct. Now, Oniric's original deck is a bit different from this, but it played Turn of Seasons. Now, Turn of Seasons also makes sense for a token deck, but the lack of a pursuit really sucks for Turn of Seasons, as well as Winter can sometimes really hurt us when we play the Xerxian Sympathizer. As having our Sympathizer being traded into by a Trapezist in Winter is one of the worst things that could happen. But also having the opposing the opponent play a Trapezist and infuse it somehow feels much less worse. So on the draw, we want to play the Storied Martyr on one, but we don't usually feel that bad playing Eager Recruit on one. The Storied Martyr being a 3/3 is definitely very hard for the opponent to remove early on and can sometimes just snowball the game. Dark Passenger is really nice whenever we play Racers because that is just very efficient removal that draws a card and can take down almost anything in the game. The Zazen Recruiters are really nice in this deck because they give the Rebel label, but also we have a lot of minions to just justify the Zazen Recruiter. And it's a nice minion to have overall since we don't play that many purple. We only play 14 purple, so we can usually play it on 2 without any problems. The Insurance Broker is more of a slot that I'm experimenting with. We can definitely try out the Parsa Clarion, but the Insurance Broker really makes sense in a token deck, as a lot of these tokens are going to be dying, and as they die, we can draw cards, and it can really snowball very hard, as the Insurance Broker can draw a ton of cards in this deck. The Zerxian Sympathizer is really one of those cards that just can take over the game on its own. Desiree Arquebus is broken, and it's also a zealot. And the Parsa Divinity Canon is also a zealot. So that's nice for the Zerxian Sympathizer. And the Sign of Pride is really good to take down, let's say, a a Sapple or something that's blocking our way, or something that can heal. Maybe um, the uh, the 5 mana heal for the red. I don't remember his name. And the Seal of Exile, we don't really care that much to ban that much with this deck, so we can seal, and it wouldn't really hurt us as we really top off at 5 mana. And the deck doesn't play the Armageddon Angel, unlike Rune's Mono Orange, which I feel is kind of against the spirit of the deck, as the deck plays tokens, and we're not in a position really to be controlling the board with Armageddon Angel. Rather, we control the board with tokens and all the spam we do with this deck. So it's a very nice aggressive deck. We don't usually want to play Reconstruct on its own unless we have excess mana. We want to always play it with Ramens. And yeah, let's go over a couple games of this deck, and I hope you enjoy the games. So the first game is against Nier, and he's a very strong red-orange player. And we have a decent hand here. We also have the Storied Martyr that we can play on one, considering that we are the ones on the draw, which is very nice for us. And we do exactly that. We also burn the Insurance Broker, as it's not really good on curve. We would rather be playing threats on curve, and when we're sufficiently ahead enough, we can play the Insurance Broker. And having Nier block with the straight Panacea is really not that bad for us, as we gain charges for the Colosseum. And we just took this slow turn to develop the Spear of Destiny. And as you can see, the 3/3 Storied Martyr is very difficult to deal with on curve. He would basically need to Trapezist and Infuse next turn, but he already played the Trapezist. And the Surgeon Sympathizer on 3 is also very difficult to deal with. But here near goes the Jazairi Arquebus, and I don't actually have a way to deal with it. And I think here that was a wasn't really a misplay, but I didn't really have a way to deal with this Jazairi Arquebus. And I could have definitely tried double trading into it, but I felt like I would rather just ignore that side of the board. And this is a play that shows the how nice the tokens are. We buff 3 things with Juiced thanks to the tokens, and we play Juiced and take these trades, and also try to play around Magmator, the second Magmator. But yeah, this is going really well for us so far. But as you can see, Nier has the Armageddon Angel in hand, so it's not that good for us, as we're also having a very small hand. I think here Nier, yeah, goes the Armageddon Angel, and we're kind of forced to block with the Tranial Petrol. And it kind of looks like the game is equal here. You can't really tell who's gonna win here. The Serapis is something that we really don't want to keep alive, as the healing just is going against our game plan. And we just ignore it, ignore the 4/4, and just go face on that side of the boards. And we're forced to play the seal here, as we can't really make a decent trade. And at this point, I think the game is very much going in our favor. We had drawn a racer here. Would have been in a really good spot. But yes, here we play the Insurance Brokers, and we make this trade to just draw cards here. And we drew 2 cards from that trade, even though it wasn't exactly good for us. And we actually have lethal here with the Juiced. It really depended on where Nier had put the right Trickster debuff. But where he put it, I had to test if it's on this or the other one. I'm not sure if it actually matters because I also have the racer. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Yeah. So this is just lethal here. So that really shows the deck standing up against red orange, which is always a very hard thing for any deck to do, as red orange is possibly the strongest deck in the game right now. And yeah, let's go over the second game. And so we're playing against LD 40 or 20. Um, and he's playing a weird deck. He's playing orange, yellow, and purple. But playing against him really gave me a lot of trouble as he had a very strong early game that was very strong against me. But I managed to survive the early game, but it was really difficult. I definitely did not expect the Battle Chef in this deck, as I did not really expect this, and that was a really bad trade for us. And it would take really a lot of effort to come back from this. Having the right tricks to just survive this trade and make this trade, and not only that but heal, it just feels so bleak for us at this point. And the hand the opponent has, he has the second right trickster as well, and he's just gonna debuff everything I play until I draw a racer. And even then, a racer is not enough. I'd have to play the Spear of Destiny and to try to take down the right trickster, and even that is not enough as it has armor one. So this is looking very, very bad for us at this moment. So we definitely lost the early game, and the opponent has the second right trickster, which is also extremely difficult to play around. And I find the racer, but there's very little I can do about the other right trickster. I could just take down that trickster. And both of these are debuffed, so there is no point in attacking here. And I just take this opportunity to draw some cards, as there is really nothing I thought would help here except a sign, perhaps, or some seal, as I can't really deal with the right trickster at the moment. And yeah, and the opponent just goes the Zulia, and that's very crippling for us. There is basically nothing we can do at this point. We're forced to play, and the Triennial Patrol is very nice here, as even if they are debuffed, they still have the Slayer, and we have the Juiced in hand. So the Slayer only needs to only works if we have just one attack. So we can just Juiced next turn if he doesn't trade or do anything here, and take down both of these. But it's still very sketchy, and the opponent could draw some kind of removal here, which would suck for us. But yeah, I was not sure where the right trickster debuff was on, but I suspected it was on this. Uh, I think I misplayed here. Maybe I should have attacked like this first and then moved over and attacked this way, as I expected it to be on that. But I really didn't have a way to know, and I didn't really think too much about it. But yeah, I think this would have been the much safer play, as if I hadn't drawn the Dark Passenger here, I would have been in a definitely very hard spot. But thankfully, I found the Dark Passenger, and this with the debuff only deals 4 damage. Um, so I definitely have to play the Dark Passenger here to kill the Zulia. And yeah, we're in a very good spot here. We managed to survive the early game, even after that the double dry tricksters and the battle chef armor being very difficult for us to deal with, and we actually drew a lot of cards as well, and we're getting the Colosseum charges, and we found Juiced, and we have the Triennial Patrol, and the insurance broker is snowballing. So we're definitely survived the early game with an advantage. We're only hoping that the opponent doesn't find some kind of board clear for next turn or the after. And the snakes here are not really bad for us to see, as they just give us charges for the insurance broker, and they serve as protection from Sapo or some of these stuff. We can just play in front of them and remove them on the second and the next turn, and just get a free lane to attack through. So yeah, we're in a very good spot here. So we're just taking this stuff down, and we're gaining Colosseum charges. And the opponent is definitely playing a very weird deck that it wouldn't have featured, but the fact that it gave me a lot of trouble to deal with was something that made me feel like this was definitely worthy of being featured. But yeah, these snakes are really not that bad for us. We're not we're drawing a ton of cards here, and it's just a matter of time to finish the game over. And none of these trades are really bad for us, as we're just going to draw a ton of cards. But it's also a matter of having lanes being left to find to be able to play stuff. And I actually made that trade to prevent him from uh, to prevent him from playing Sapo, a possible Sapo next turn, as he could have just drawn and had the Maze of Yetiku die and then play Sapo here. But this way I force him to play Mend, spend 2 mana on Mend, and now he only has 5 mana left. So yeah, it's definitely just trying to wrap up the game here, as the opponent just doesn't have any way to be back in the game. Even a Misanthropy doesn't really affect us that much with a hand as full as ours. So yeah, this was not very good to see, as this definitely just 8 attack minion is just not something we really want to deal with here. But yeah, the sign, and we're gonna just pride this and trade into it for the racer. And we play the Barca recruit to give this frenzy, and the opponent is a 2 here. So there's basically nothing the opponent can do against a board like this. So yeah, that was the deck, and I hope you enjoyed these 2 games. And the deck is really fun to play, and I think it's very strong as well. It's definitely still not as refined as I would like it to be, as I'm not really sure if the Parsaclarians should be fit in this deck or not. But the deck has a very solid core. The Ramens with all these buffs from Juiced and the Spear of Destiny, as well as the Zerzian Sympathizer, it all feels very good. And the deck is very flexible in what it can stand against between all the Dark Passengers, the Seal, and the Racers, as well as the Scion. It makes the deck very strong, and it can snowball the board very easily. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll hope to see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.